Tonight, the tornado touching down in a major American city in the middle of rush hour. The twister tearing across a highway in San Antonio as drivers packed the road. The roof ripped off this apartment complex, plus the flash flood emergency. Cars and animals swept away. Also tonight, the terrifying moments. Workers are trapped on a train as a wildfire rages around it. How they got out. Now the dangerous smoke from the fires blanketing the Midwest and the Northeast. Major cities impacted. Niagara Falls barely visible. The health warnings tonight. The urgent search for the missing after this massive boat sank near Alcatraz. The dramatic moments passengers clung to its side. New details in the Nolan Wells case. Audio of the phone call his friends made saying they needed help with their boat before Nolan went missing. You'll hear it. Plus what the sheriff told our correspondent. Grilled on Capitol Hill, President Trump's pick for Attorney General facing tough questions. The comment he made that's fueling his critics. President Trump's reversal, overruling that new order from ICE that would have paused those controversial traffic stops. The World Cup final officially set. Argentina defeating England. They'll now take on Spain for the big prize. The new Pentagon policy just announced, testing troops for low testosterone. And there's good news tonight about the football players proving that when you're on a team, you never fight alone. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas.
And good evening. It's great to be with you on this Wednesday. We want to start with that tornado and the flooding in Texas tonight. The dangerous wildfire smoke blanketing the Midwest and the Northeast all at the same time. This was the terrifying scene in San Antonio. Take a close look. A twister there touching down near an interstate during peak rush hour. And this is the damage left behind. The roof of this apartment complex completely sheared off. You can actually see people's living rooms and their bedrooms exposed there. We're also tracking out-of-control flooding in Texas, an entire community. Cars, homes, businesses submerged. And right now, a fast-moving wildfire just flared up outside of Los Angeles. Look at it here. These huge flames threatening homes and prompting evacuations there. We have new video out of Canada of this train trapped by a wildfire. It is terrifying. We'll show you the dramatic moments before their escape. And that wildfire sending dangerous smoke across the U.S. tonight. The smoke in Canada turning Toronto orange with the dangerous haze now impacting American cities from New York to Boston to Detroit. This is the view from space. You can see just how much of the country that smoke is covering. Our teams tonight are across all of it with Ryan Chandler starting us off tonight from hard-hit Texas.
The opposite way?
This is a tornado.
Tonight, a terrifying scene as a tornado slams San Antonio.
Oh, no.
Power flashes lighting up the sky, drivers frantic as it touches down near a packed highway.
Oh my God.
At the height of the morning commute.
Good debris falling out of the sky, not rain.
Part of the roof of this apartment complex peeled right off. Families' living rooms and bedrooms now exposed to the sky.
So something flew over, and I'm like, whoa, and the building started shaking everything.
The storm's torrential rain paralyzing a massive expanse of South and Central Texas, triggering multiple flash flood emergencies. This truck spotted floating down a flooded road in Bernie.
There he goes.
NBC's San Antonio affiliate capturing this upsetting moment. A group of deer appear to be carried away by the rushing waters.
We have deer struggling in the water.
Highways like this outside Uvalde have been overwhelmed by the rushing waters, leaving some communities trapped behind the floodwaters. The only way to access them is by the air, where DPS has been rescuing people in helicopters. Neighborhoods evacuating in Uvalde as the Leona River swells onto city streets. What do you think when you look out at this flooding?
What you see here is it's basically a disaster. You know, it's an area where you cannot come through. As you can see behind us, how this water is very dangerous right now.
We caught up with residents like Blanca San Miguel as the waters closed in on their home.
Because of the storm, they told us that they was getting dangerous and they were getting probably 20 feet or 30 feet from here.
An anxious night ahead as yet more rain is expected in the region.
And that water can rise so fast. Ryan Chandler joins us live now from Uvalde. And Ryan, I know you're talking to families out there. They have a real concern about a dam breaking.
And Tom, we have heard from so many people across this community very concerned about whether the dam upriver could break. They'll be grateful to hear, though, that DPS tells me just in the last few minutes, water is coming over the top of that dam, but there is no indication that it will break tonight. Tom.
We hope it holds. Okay, Ryan, thank you. We are also tracking that dangerous wildfire smoke now smothering the Midwest and the Northeast. And we have new video tonight of one of the wildfires that started it all and the workers nearly trapped by it. Here's Stephanie Gosk.
Holy crap.
Tonight, the terrifying moment of fast-moving wildfire suddenly engulfed a train.
This could potentially overtake us here. This has gotten a little scary.
This video recorded by the anxious crew in rural Ontario, Canada, Monday.
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
The company says everyone on board was safely rescued from the area, and train operations are temporarily suspended.
The smoke is so thick.
That fire, one of hundreds currently burning across the country. In Toronto, the World Cup Fan Fest canceled today because of air quality, at one point considered the worst in the world. Earthcam video capturing an orangey haze surrounding Niagara Falls. And tonight, a dangerous mix of heat and smoke now descending on tens of millions of Americans. In Michigan, the Mackinac Bridge almost impossible to make out, drivers being told to slow down to 20 miles per hour. With murky skylines from Duluth, Minnesota to Detroit and New York City, where a health advisory was issued today into Thursday. The air now putting people's health at risk here in the U.S. Shortness of breath, coughing, and dizziness among the symptoms caused by particle pollution.
Are you actually inhaling these particles?
You are inhaling the particles, right? They're invisible particles, right? And so that's what makes air pollution so concerning.
And tonight, those air quality indexes surging to unhealthy levels from the upper Midwest to the Northeast.
Right now, being indoors in an air-conditioned space is going to be our safest place to be.
Okay, Stephanie Gosk braving that bad air tonight, joining us from across the river in Hoboken, New Jersey. So, Steph, how bad is it expected to get here?
Well, you know, Tom, we had a rainstorm a moment ago and it brought some relief, but the air turned unhealthy here in just a matter of hours. That's going to continue through tomorrow with relief on Friday. But for the northern Midwest, the smoke and the haze and the unhealthy air, that could continue through the weekend, Tom.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough couple of days. Okay, Steph, we thank you. We have dramatic new video we want to show you of a disaster, a boat disaster near Alcatraz off San Francisco. Passengers fighting to survive in the cold water as their boat sank. Steve Patterson is there for us tonight.
Tonight, heartbreak in the frigid waters of the San Francisco Bay. As crews search for 3 people still missing after a 50-foot cabin cruiser capsized and sank near Alcatraz Island. Video from above capturing the chaotic scene. The boat rolled on its side, its hull exposed as survivors cling to it in the water. You can see small boats circling in before the vessel disappeared beneath the surface. Rescuers seen scrambling to administer CPR.
CPR over there on this person.
This citizen video showing first responders tending to the survivors. Witnesses describe seeing people trapped, banging on the window as the boat went down.
When the vessel took on a wave over the side, it quickly rolled to starboard, and then many people inside fell over.
At least one person has died, officials identifying him as 79-year-old Clifford Joseph Boysa. Charter Captain Aaron Anfinson was on a boat nearby.
I didn't see a life raft anywhere, so we threw them life jackets. You know, we did what we could, but yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Crew member Jeffrey DeYoung helped pull one woman from the water.
We threw the life ring to her, and she was able to grab onto it. We got her inside and tried to get her warmed up out of her wet clothes and stuff like that.
These new photos showing the choppy conditions rescuers had to battle. The group on board, officials believe, out on the bay for a memorial service.
How you feeling after going through something like that? I gave my mom a big hug when I got home. It was very scary.
And that boat, believed to be about 130 feet below the surface, divers simply haven't been able to get down there as investigators work to determine what exactly went wrong here. Tom?
That's deep water. All right, Steve Patterson. President Trump's nominee for Attorney General faced a grilling on Capitol Hill today. Todd Blanche, who previously served as the president's defense attorney, is now the acting attorney general, and he has a very narrow path to confirmation. Hallie Jackson explains.
I met him at
the moment tonight with maybe the most staying power at today's confirmation hearing for Todd Blanche, coming during friendly questioning about his relationship with the president.
I'm his lawyer. was his lawyer, and now I'm the Deputy Attorney General.
An apparent slip of the tongue, since Blanche is no longer the president's personal lawyer, likely adding to Democrats' concerns that Blanche, if confirmed as Attorney General, would do President Trump's bidding to go after political rivals.
Who you are is someone willing to sacrifice everything you once believed in for that title.
Blanche spent some 15 years at the DOJ before moving to private practice, representing then-candidate Trump in his 2024 hush money trial in New York. Now, as acting AG, touting progress.
We have the lowest murder rate since 1900.
But facing pointed questions about why he signed off on a controversial settlement after President Trump sued the IRS. The DOJ initially agreeing to an extraordinary $1.8 billion so-called anti-weaponization fund.
The settlement fund's just not moving forward.
Since scuttled in the face of intense opposition, including from Republicans like Senator John Cornyn, who remains undecided.
I'm not going to make a decision until I have to.
Also in the room today, nearly a dozen survivors or their family members of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse, urging the Judiciary Committee to vote against Blanche, furious about the DOJ's handling of the Epstein documents.
I will absolutely say that any mistake that we made should not have been made.
Vice President Vance on Joe Rogan's podcast today, acknowledging the administration mishandled messaging around the case.
I say this with all candor, like, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files.
Now, the brother and sister-in-law of Epstein survivor Virginia Roberts Giuffre with this message for Todd Blanche.
And you failed to really answer any substantive questions. Nothing got answered today. It was just the show.
Hallie joins us now live, and you alluded to this in your story. The margins are narrow. Even if one Republican defects in the committee, it could spell trouble for Blanche.
Yeah, that's right, Tom, which is why the spotlight is on the yet undecided Senator Cornyn, creating some suspense until the committee vote, which is expected later this month. Tom?
Hallie Jackson for us. Hallie, thank you. Also in Washington, the president catching some of his administration off guard today with a social media post reversing a new ICE policy put into place after 2 deadly shootings in the last 2 weeks. Garrett Haake joins us live from the White House. And Garrett, what happened here?
Well, Tom, President Trump used a single post this morning to overturn an order issued by DHS just last night that would have temporarily banned immigration officers from pursuing people who flee them in vehicles. The president posting that ICE cannot give up on traffic stops, which he called one of their, quote, most important and effective crime-fighting tools. Now, that policy reversal caught ICE leadership by surprise when they read it online this morning, according to a DHS official. And the temporary pause on traffic stops, which ultimately lasted just the night, was initially rolled out after officers in Texas and then in Maine shot and killed men who fled arrest in vehicles. Neither man was the officer's initial target, officials say, and the ICE officers involved did not have body cameras. Tom?
Garrett Haake at the White House for us. We're going to take a turn now to the World Cup because the final showdown is now set. And what a match today. Argentina came from behind to beat England in the closing minutes. Messi and his team set to face Spain in the final, and Jesse Kirsch was there in the heart of the action.
Tonight, Lionel Messi and Argentina pulling off another remarkable come-from-behind win, stunning England. Now the reigning World Cup champs are returning to the tournament final with a chance to win back-to-back titles. Argentina and England are one of soccer's greatest rivalries. The match tense and extremely physical for almost an hour when England's Anthony Gordon raced toward the net. Argentina spent half an hour trying to catch up with one near miss after another. Then finally, with just minutes left to play, Enzo Fernandez fired from long range. Then Argentina's Lautaro Martinez delivered the finishing blow. And while Lionel Messi never scored himself, he set up both clutch plays, later celebrating with his teammates. Some of their fans in tears, many jumping for joy so much the stadium floor was shaking as they cheered. Now Argentina and their fans have to get past Spain. The World Cup final kicks off in New Jersey on Sunday. Tom?
It is going to be an epic match. All right, we thank you for that, Jesse. When we return in 60 seconds, the latest on the investigation to the death of a Mississippi college football player. You'll hear the new audio of his friends calling for help as their boat was malfunctioning. Plus, is the Pentagon about to start testing men in the military for their testosterone? What Pete Hegseth just said. We're back with the new developments in the case of Nolan Wells, the Mississippi teen who died after a boating trip with friends. Tonight, we've obtained a phone call from some of those friends before they left the island. Aaron Gilchrist tonight with that call and some new reporting from Mississippi.
Tonight, new audio shedding light on the moments before some of Nolan Wells' friends left Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi. A mom of one of the friends last week said the group left without Nolan when their boat began malfunctioning.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
NBC News has obtained audio as part of a records request that details the group calling for towing assistance.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later. It's unclear whether Nolan was with anyone when he disappeared. This as the search for answers in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells continues. His family's attorneys saying they'll now work side by side with investigators to analyze Nolan's cell phone.
So everybody will be able to see at the same time what the cell phone has.
Nolan's parents previously said they believe content may have been deleted from the phone. The case will be presented to a Mississippi grand jury once the investigation is complete. The local district attorney telling NBC News that's a standard practice for cases with an unknown cause of death and not an indication that a crime was committed. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter says his team has interviewed several witnesses and is working to get answers for the family.
Do you feel like you're getting useful information that's been helpful to figuring out what happened?
Yes, sir. We're getting very useful information, and we appreciate the public coming forward with what they've had, and we don't want them to be hesitant.
Today, the family met with the district attorney for more than an hour.
It was just a meeting where she talked about the process. She didn't tell us any information about the investigation. We're trying to get to those answers.
As tonight, Nolan's family prepares to hold his funeral next week.
He would not want us to be sitting around crying and eating, and so what we're going to do is kind of have a party to celebrate him.
Tom, the state and independent autopsy results are not back yet. The family attorney says he does plan to release those details when he has them. Tom?
Aaron Gilchrist live from Mississippi. Aaron, we thank you. We're back in a moment. We're back now with a controversial new screening measure for men in the military. Today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing testosterone testing for service members that are at least 30 years old as part of an annual health assessment. He said service members could choose to have testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, if their levels are low. It's unclear what happens if they reject that treatment. All right, ahead on Nightly, there is good news tonight. When a beloved football coach was battling cancer, his team came running. That's next. Finally, there's good news tonight. A Florida football team coming together for one of their own, supporting an assistant coach who is battling cancer right now and reminding us all that when you're part of a team, you never fight alone.
Let's go, boys.
They ran through the streets of their city, fueled by purpose. This high school football team from the University Christian School in Jacksonville showing up for one of their own. Assistant coach Matt Thomas is battling cancer. His whole team, dozens of players, running to his house before summer conditioning, coming together to pray and show support. Coach Thomas went to the school himself and coached his sons there as well. The morning run,
let's go, boys.
A reminder of the strength of a team and the power of community.
I felt real emotional. The prayer, it was just so powerful.
Julius LaRosa is a rising senior. He's played defense under Coach Thomas for years.
It makes me and makes our teammates want to play as hard as we can to our fullest.
Also sharing this powerful message.
Stick in there, Coach. We love you. We praying for you. You know I'm always going to be here for you, no matter what the situation is.
Coach Thomas, keep fighting. All right, that's Nightly News for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Llamas. We thank you so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.